Imagine, for a moment, standing on the vast copper plains of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, one of Africa's hidden giants and the beating heart of the continent's mineral wealth. Here, beneath sweeping savannas and ancient forests, runs the legendary Central African Copperbelt, a 500-kilometer crescent spun from Earth's deep memory, formed over 500 million years ago. In the DRC, this geological marvel holds copper so pure that a single handful of soil might yield 10 times the global average. As of 2025, the scale is staggering. Some 3.3 million metric tons of copper pour from Congolese soil every year, more than 11% of the planet's entire supply, making Congo second only to Chile and the undisputed champion of Africa. But this wealth is more than a twist of fate. It's a strategic linchpin, awaited by the world as the engine for a coming age of green innovation, fueling everything from renewable energy grids to the electric vehicles that promise cleaner air for the generations to come. Global copper demand is set to leap by half in the next 15 years, as cities hum with electric cars and solar farms stretch to the horizon, making Africa's copper reserves potentially worth trillions and ready to shape economies well beyond its borders. The story, however, is not just about riches lying in wait. As explorers and investors converge, they encounter a land of paradox, where every opportunity is matched by challenge. Let's go deeper into that story, beginning in the ancient rocks themselves. The DRC's mineral bounty was forged over eons as tropical rains and shifting tectonics supercharged the copper veins. In legendary deposits like Kamoa-Kakula and Tenke Fungurume, reserves tip the scales at more than 2.5 billion tons, and advanced exploration hints at a trove twice that size just waiting for discovery. Today, modern technologies have changed the pace. Seismic surveys and AI-powered geophysical models lead companies like Ivanhoe Mines to find new riches, raising production by 31% in just the first half of 2025, despite hiccups from nature's unpredictable power. But Congo does not stand alone. Its neighbor Zambia adds another 800,000 tons a year, and emerging mines across Angola and Tanzania hint at a new continental momentum. Africa's copper, in fact, could supply over 1/5 of the world's needs within a few years. A strategic windfall, especially as one electric car alone gulps down 4 times as much copper as a traditional gasoline model. Driven by heavy investment from both China and the West, the stage is set. The copper story is no longer local, but global, linking African mines to factories and innovators from Shanghai to Silicon Valley. But there's more to this landscape than numbers and market forecasts. It's about lives and livelihoods, fortunes built and lost. The DRC's copper sector is a whirlwind of activity in 2025, with output hitting record highs. Giant mines like Kamoa-Kakula, a partnership between international mining titans and the Congolese state, are scaling up faster than ever. After a strong haul last year, they plan to produce up to 580,000 tons in 2025, growing as expansions race ahead of schedule. Well-known projects like Tenke Fungurume, operated by CMOC, deliver another 600,000 tons, while Glencore's Kamoto Copper Company adds 300,000 tons, its operations mixing not only copper, but valuable cobalt, a key ingredient in the batteries powering our digital and electric futures. Robust Chinese demand, fueled by stimulus spending, keeps prices buoyant, even as the DRC government's projections trail far behind reality. Exports have soared to their highest levels ever, helping push Congolese GDP up more than 5% this year alone, even as the mining sector starts to cool after its explosive boom. Chinese companies, it should be said, now control about 70% of industrial output. with investment pacts like Sycamines structuring vast infrastructure for mining rights exchanges. But the winds can shift quickly. Glencore, facing regulatory changes and shifting prices, is debating the sale of major Congolese assets, even as Western interests, from U.S. agencies to mining giants like Rio Tinto, look to counterbalance China's growing control. Yet, the prosperity is uneven. While well-funded industrial mines thrive, small-scale and artisanal miners, numbering around 200,000, scrabble for survival, often eking out a living from tough, inefficient operations. Though essential to many communities, they produce only a fifth of national copper output, and the low value of raw ore exports drains about $1.2 billion each year from Congo's economy, money that could stay home, building roads, schools, and clinics. And so, the old dilemma remains: how to turn mineral riches into lasting prosperity for all. That journey is anything but easy. The promises of the Copper Belt are shadowed in 2025 by a host of steep barriers. Roads and railroads are woefully few, only 2% are paved, and power is fickle, with outages and climate-driven droughts stalling even the mightiest operations. When earth tremors hit, as seen at Kamoa-Kakula this year, it's a stark reminder of the fragility behind the scenes. There's also a growing sense of unease about who really benefits. Chinese dominance is under the microscope, with human rights organizations like Amnesty International sounding the alarm over forced evictions and disruptive land grabs as mines expand. Online, Congolese voices echo the pain. Entire communities upended, environmental disasters unfolding, and resource nationalism rising as the government revamps mining codes to claim a bigger share and limit foreign protections. The flip side of development, child labor, particularly in the informal cobalt sector, environmental pollution, and radioactive contamination, adds further pressure. Water supplies near Kolwezi are so polluted from mining runoff that a report this year found 100,000 residents at risk. Compounding all this are regional conflicts and regulatory uncertainties, such as abrupt cobalt export bans that whipsaw markets and community fortunes alike. The term resource curse is often whispered, as 70% of Congo's exports come from mining, but only a tenth of GDP is returned to the people, while 2 out of 3 live in poverty. Despite daunting odds, change is stirring. The Congolese government is coming to the table with reform, making tough policy pivots intended to hold more value at home. The mining code now demands a greater share of minerals be processed locally, targeting an ambitious 30% value retention by the time today's young children graduate school. With the backing of the European Union and the United States, billions are being channeled into infrastructure and better governance. New partnerships are blossoming, such as Cobalt Metals' high-tech cobalt and lithium project, blending artificial intelligence with environmental oversight to find resources both efficiently and ethically. State-of-the-art investments, including stakes from the Gulf states, underscore a turn towards international diversification. Reforms are reaching the grassroots as well. Small-scale miners are being organized into formal cooperatives, with the target of integrating half within the next 2 years. Blockchain is used to track the journey of minerals, promising more transparency and less smuggling. For investors, royalties now flex with global prices, balancing fair returns with social need, setting the stage for $10 billion in projected revenues by 2028. The potential for a greener, fairer future is mounting. Looking forward to 2030 and beyond, new hydropower projects and critical railways are in motion to slash costs, bring renewable power to mines, and cut logistical headaches. The broader African vision takes shape. The DRC's ore is refined in Zambia, turned into batteries in South Africa, then dispatched to the world, a continental value chain built for the age of electrification. New partners, Russian, Saudi, and even Uzbek investors, are staking claims, lending dynamism and resilience to Africa's ascent. If community benefits and zero-waste mining prevail, the copper renaissance could add hundreds of billions to Africa's growth, fostering a future built on shared prosperity instead of dependence. Yet, the question remains, how can this transformation truly be achieved? Fairly, sustainably, and at scale. Here, technology becomes a formidable ally. Companies like Farmanaut are at the very frontier of this revolution, quietly but powerfully reshaping how minerals are sought, mapped, and managed. Farmanaut, a trailblazer in satellite-based data solutions, makes it possible for governments, companies, and even communities in the DRC to monitor everything from land use to mining operations by harnessing the power of orbiting satellites and artificial intelligence. With tools that can read hundreds of colors invisibly reflected from the ground, thanks to hyperspectral imaging, Farmanaut pinpoints the unique fingerprints of key minerals, be they copper veins hidden beneath dense jungle or signatures of associated resources like cobalt. Multispectral analyses, often using satellites like Landsat, give fresh eyes on the landscape, mapping geological patterns invisible to the human eye, while advanced radar and LiDAR cut through clouds and darkness to create 3D models of shifting terrain, ensuring mines operate safely even in the face of earthquakes or tropical storms. For mining in Africa, this means rapid, non-invasive scanning of vast tracts of land, with real-time updates and drastically reduced need for risky and expensive field expeditions, delivering cost savings up to 60% over old-school methods, and, crucially, minimizing environmental disruption. Farmanaut's technology is already making waves, from mapping gold in the deserts of Mauritania to unlocking new targets in Tanzania and the very heart of the DRC's copper country. Their success stories demonstrate a path forward that puts high-tech tools in local hands, democratizing access to insight and empowering sustainable decisions. As the world sets its sights on Africa's minerals for a cleaner, fairer future, the integration of remote sensing, AI, and blockchain platforms delivered by visionaries like Farmanaut might just tip the scales. By giving all stakeholders the tools to see, plan, and monitor in real time, Farmanaut helps ensure that the DRC's mineral bonanza lifts the whole continent, turning buried potential into prosperity built on transparency, environmental stewardship, and shared opportunity. In this way, Congo's copper story could become not just a tale of what the land contains, but of what the future holds when technology